How's it going, everybody? Welcome to DreamwareTech and also to our look at the Aorus Z490 Master motherboard. Now, I know I've already taken a look at this board, but I just feel that we have to do it again because it's just a nicer board. So let's quickly take a look at this one, but let's rather take a look at the Z590. All right, so this is the brand new Z590 Aorus Master, and it is very similar towards the Z490 Master that we already took a look at, and again, that's actually inside this system currently. So we're gonna take a look at this one, see what's new, what's hot and all of that, especially if you want to build yourself some new 11th gen Intel system, which should probably come out in a couple of months or so. So yeah, let's quickly go over it and see what we get. So first up, pricing wise for this board, we don't know exactly how much currently at this time, but apparently it's probably going to be similar towards the Z490 Master at launch, which will be around $400. Luckily, there's not going to be a supply shortage like GPUs, so prices won't skyrocket. So anyway, let's quickly open it up and see what we get inside. So first up, the board, of course, which we're going to just put towards the side for now. You do have some nice little stickers if you want to spice up your life with some stickers. You do have your manual, which again, like I said, actually in our Z590 Pro AX, I know men don't usually like to ask for directions, but for the in case of this manual, you kind of need to, because there's actually so much more information in there. So yeah, you do have installation guide and there, so nothing too crazy. Next up, let's quickly take a look at the bottom. So you do have your wireless or your Wi-Fi antenna, which looks like a shark fin. You do have your G connector, which is for your front panel I/O. You do have your thermal cable here, which will pick up some of the case's temperatures. You do have a wee little speaker if you want to if your motherboard actually doesn't want to boot up, especially if your memory is properly connected. You do have a RGB extension cable. You do have another thermal or a noise connector, because it does have two thermal connectors and a noise connector apparently. You do have 4 SATA connectors, and then 1, 2, and 3 M.2 screws, which is always handy because I actually lose these quite often. And now let's get into the motherboard, which is, damn, this thing is heavy. I can't remember the Z490 being this heavy. I can't remember, maybe, but wow, it's actually quite heavy. So let's get it out here, just put it on its anti-static bag, just in case. And there we go. So you do have a lot of armor going on. Again, plenty of cooling, massive VRM heat spreaders here, direct touch heat pipe. All right, so I could say touch it directly, but probably also don't touch it because it's gonna be hot. But yeah, firstly, let's see, we got some peel action going on here. I see someone already started before me, but that's fine. It's okay. So let's quickly. Wasn't me. All right, so let's quickly peel and get some ASMR action going. That was anticlimactic. Wow. All right, so next one. That was better.
Yeah, you're getting better at it.
I'm getting better at peeling, okay? Just quickly before we get into the rest of the video, if you guys want to pick up either one of these new Z590 boards for yourself, once it's also available, definitely go check out DreamwareTech.co.za, where you can get a ton of other Gigabyte and Aorus products as well. Forget about subpar customer service. DreamwareTech delivers nationwide, keeps you updated on every step of the way, which is just awesome. And something, again, I have to mention this every time, something very special is that everything comes inside eco-friendly packaging. everything. So definitely go check out DreamwareTech.co.za where you can get both of these once it's actually fully released, or just a bunch of other Gigabyte Aorus gear. So definitely go check them out with the link in the video description. All right, so here we have it. The Aorus Z590 Master. I keep saying Z490. So you do again have a nice little array of armor going on across the entire board. I do like the IO cover here. It does have a bit of RGB here if you do turn it on. It's nothing too crazy again. Aorus has actually gone a lot more subtle towards RGB and everything. Previously they were crazy, now they're a lot cleaner. So you do have that there. Also nice little clear casing over that. Again, your PCI Express, and then I want to see here at the bottom, you have plenty of armor here at the back as well. They'll keep the board nice and secure. So that's what kind of makes it this heavy. So yeah, let's quickly move on from that. So first up, let's start with the CPU. Of course, this is the LGA 1200 socket, just like the 490 platform. So you'll be able to use your 10th generation and also the upcoming 11th generation CPUs once they're actually out. We'll be able to use that. But then also we know that Intel is planning to release their Alder Lake, which is of course going to be on their 1700 socket, which is reportedly going to be released like in late 2021 and possibly move back till 2022. So, and then also it's rumored that it's going to feature the 10 nanometer CPUs, which is about time, and then also DDR5. So that's gonna be quite cool before AMD probably. So yeah, we'll see, but that's where I'm not sure exactly where this falls in. But anyway, moving on. So let's quickly take a look at our VRMs, because again, it's quite beefy. Same goes towards the Z490 Master, just a bit better. All right, so for the Z590 Master's VRMs, they do make up a 12-phase setup for the V-Core and SEO on the power delivery front. Controlling power is an Intersil ISL 6929 buck controller that manages up to 12 discrete channels. This is one of the features that's a bit newer towards compared to the Z490, where the Z490 only had a Intersil ISL 6926. So it's the same, but also not entirely the same. The Z590 is better. So there we go. Now the power stage also gets sent to an ISL 6617A phase doubler and the 12 phase 90 amp ISL 99390B MOSFETs. Now I know a lot of that is kind of not needed for most people, but in a short, the new VRMs are pretty robust, especially for more of a mid-range board, although it's $400. But it allows for a whopping 1,620 amps, which is almost a double the previous Z490 at around 1,080 amps. So it just allows for much higher and better stable overclocking, in short. So, and then also it uses tantalum polymer capacitor arrays along with the rest of the VRM. So yeah, take that for what you will. Now, as for the cooling for the VRMs, this is actually a bit different compared to the Z490, just took a look at. So it does instead have more of a fins compared to just a solid piece, so that's pretty cool. Now this is called the fins array cooling 2, which according to Aorus is around 20% better in cooling with its louvered cooling fins, and the fins are also coated in nanocarbon. So yeah, that is cool, I guess. I'll say I'm not too sure, but at least just like the Z490, you do still get the orange thermal pads underneath the VRM. So they're sticking with that again. All right, just quickly, something that we actually noticed is that underneath the IO cover here to help cool the VRMs, especially on this side, you do actually have a small little fan. Now we'll have to add some B-roll shots for that, but underneath the IO cover right there, it's actually a small little fan to help cool it. And I'm not exactly sure if I actually noticed that on the Z490, but it's on the Z590. So that could be another extra addition that they added towards the new platform. So kind of cool, probably, if it's new. So yeah, moving on. Now you might be wondering about noise. I have tested some other motherboards with small little fans and they're usually not even noticeable, especially if you have the rest of your system running. So you shouldn't have to worry about that. It'll be quiet enough. All right then, moving on towards the memory. Just like previously, we do get 4 DDR4 memory modules that does support up to 128 gigs of memory and speeds up to 5,000 megahertz, which is crazy. So, and it does of course go lower, but you can overclock it with XMP towards that if your budget allows for that fast memory. Now also with this one, it does apparently support ECC memory. So if you want to take the step towards ECC memory, you can also with the new Z590 boards. I don't believe that was the case for the Z490. So a nice little extra feature that they added. So finally, we are getting support for PCI Express 4.0 on Intel platforms with, of course, the new 11th generation CPUs. So finally, we'll be able to use some faster M.2 NVMe SSD. So that's actually nice. Now, of course, the new GPUs also feature PCI Express 4, but just like Gamers Next, they already tested it. It's like less than a 2% difference. So it's not really a big difference if you want to go that route. But if you want to, you can get one of Aorus's, their PCI Express 4 card NVMe SSD, which has speeds up to like 15 gigabytes a second, which is just crazy, which you can slot in right here with your GPU there. So a nice little feature if you want to go that route, but it's gonna cost more than a GPU really. So anyway, let's quickly go on. We do have all 3 of the PCI Express slots do feature Aorus's Armor technology, which is just going to be a bit more robust. If you do install your GPUs, it's going to prevent the board from sagging and also just damaging your PCI Express connectors, which apparently happens to some people if they're not careful also. Now moving on towards our storage. So we do have 3 M.2s that sits right under these nice beefy heat spreaders, but unfortunately only the top one is actually PCI Express 4. The bottom 2 are only PCI Express 3. So that's a bit strange, where we actually saw on the Pro AX here, we actually got 3 PCI Express 4 M.2s and 1 PCI Express 3. So it's a bit strange, but with this one, you do actually get a PCI Express 4 16 slot card, which runs at 8x times speed, whereas the other ones ran a lot lower. So that's just going to be the trade-off between some of the motherboards. And yeah, a lot of times we don't really notice that. So anyway, if you want to get a PCI Express 4 NVMe SSD, you are able to now. Aorus, I believe, is also releasing a new one, which can go up to 9,000 megabytes a second, which is just crazy. So it's gonna fit perfectly right here. And with that, because they're a lot faster, they do need a better heat dissipation. And with Aorus, they actually added what they call their new Thermal Guard 2, which actually has dual layers for the heat spreader on the top and at the bottom to help reduce the thermals on your M.2s, because apparently newer ones do actually have more controls and more chips on the NVMe SSD, which gets hot on both sides now. So you do need that extra step of cooling, and they are adding it, which is nice. So good job, Aorus. Now, if you wanted to, you can also, of course, just use your boring SATA connectors. You do have a 6 here on the side, but yeah, who really needs that nowadays? All right, now something to keep in mind is if you are going to use your SATA connectors and also your M.2s. Now, the middle M.2, when running in a SATA mode, will disable SATA 1 connector right here, but not if you run it in PCI Express mode or in NVMe. And then same goes for the bottom one, but with this one, doesn't matter if what you use, if there's an M.2 in here, it's going to disable SATA 4 and 5, which is 5 and 6 really. So yeah, just keep that in mind. The bottom one disables these 2 down here, the middle one on SATA that disables this one right here. So just a little indicator. If you want to just check, it's also in the manual, so you can check that out. So moving on towards our I/O, you do get a very nice integrated I/O shield, which is just awesome. At the top, you do have your clear CMOS button, your Q Flash Plus button. So if you want to update your BIOS, apparently there's already a new BIOS out for these boards. You can do that just with your USB right here and with the button there. Just make sure, of course, on everything, read what they say, how to update your BIOS. But anyway, so you do have your wireless antennas here, which is now a Wi-Fi 6 and it's an AX220 Wi-Fi. So that's a lot faster with Wi-Fi 6. And also it comes with a Bluetooth 5.2, whereas our Pro AX only came with Bluetooth 5.1. So just something to keep in mind there. Then next up for our 4 blue USBs here, these are USB 3.2 Gen 1, so 5 gigabits a second. We do have a DisplayPort version 1.2. We have a 5 red USB 3.2 Gen 2, 10 gigabit a second USBs. And then we do have this very nice USB 3.2 Gen 2 X2, 20 gigabit a second Type-C connector right there. I am happy to say that we also get a 10 gigabit Ethernet port, very nice inclusion. And then also we do have our all of our audio connectors with our SPDIF output. And then we also have a Sabre ES 9118 DAC for better audio. And from what we could read is that it's very good. So you do have that. Nice audio is always a must-have, especially for a nice board like this. All right, so finishing up with the rest of the connectors around the board, you do have your standard 24-pin power here, but that does feature Aorus Armor guard, and then also dual 8 pins for your CPU power, also with Armor guard, and also features their solid pin design, which is better for static or for electricity dissipation and so on. But along with that, we do have for our PWMs, we do have a fan header here. 4 here, one of them being for your CPU, another one here, so 6, 7, 8, and 9 PWM fan headers, so plenty of that going around. For RGB, you do have your 12 volt and 5 volt addressable RGB here, and then also down here you have the other two 12 volt and 5 volt addressable header. Now you do also have your power on button right here, which is always actually so handy. I'm not sure how many people actually use them, but I actually do quite a bit, especially if you are benchmarking motherboards. Like you. And then also our QLED postcode indicator here, but also here at the bottom you do have your LED indicator, which also again just tells you if your VGA is a problem, GPU, your boot is faulty, or your memory. Quite a lifesaver, both of these. You do have your reset switch, and then also you do have a dual BIOS switches right here, which you can switch between for your overclocking. Again, this is a beast for overclocking. Then for our front panel connectors, we do have a dual USB 3.2 Gen 1 headers here, and then also a USB 3.2 Gen 2 header here. At the bottom, we do have dual USB 2 headers for additional connectors, your front panel audio of your front panel connectors, and then also you do have a dual Thunderbolt connectors if you want to add in an additional Thunderbolt card, which isn't too common, but I am glad that they added that. And then just finally, you do have your noise sensor right here, and then also your thermal header here and there, I believe. So again, you do have those connectors that you got included in the box, which you can add on if you want your system to be quieter or lower temperature. So yeah, that's just a nice little inclusion. All right, so that's pretty much it for our look at the brand new Z590 Master from Aorus. Again, the newer one compared to the Z490, but they're kind of the same as well. This one is just better. So I honestly say, depending on the price and what you want to go for, if you already have a if you already have a 10th generation CPU, it's not really needed to upgrade to these. But if you're getting all new, then why not just get a better board? So you do have that option. And again, a bit better compared to the previous one. It's a bit still expensive, around $400. So make sure that you go for a proper CPU, i7 or rather even an i9, because especially with the new VRM setup, it's just going to help produce better overclocking results again as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. A big thanks to Aorus for sending over the Z590 Master for this review. If you guys want to get it for yourself, I will leave links in the video description if it's available, once it's available, so definitely check that out. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed this review, please like, share, subscribe, and comment like always, and I will take all of you next time. Cheers, guys.